Ram. My name is Richard.
My name's Mark.
How you doing, Mark? How you feeling?
Very well after the sheer volume of wrestling we have just watched.
Yes, there
Whew.
has been
How about yourself?
amazingly unhealthy amount of wrestling this weekend. It has been, we have got a lot to talk about. So what we're going to do is we're obviously going to go through this and we're going to get what we think, what our thoughts are, our opinions. We have got much to share. So without further ado, let's get this ball rolling. So Mark, WrestleMania 41 has officially wrapped up this weekend. What are your initial opinions, your overall collective thoughts as an event? Let's start with that. What did you think of WrestleMania 41?
It was a solid event.
Hmm.
It wasn't the best WrestleMania. It wasn't the worst WrestleMania. There's some really good moments and some quite bad moments, I thought.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, once we go through the match card,
Mm-hmm.
we'll dissect all that stuff.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. I completely agree with you. I think I've been watching and listening to what people have thought about the events, getting their criticisms, and in my opinion, it definitely wasn't the best, but it was not the worst. There was a lot to enjoy here, but I think if I was going to sum this up, and what I've been doing is going through each match, and I thought, how can I sum this up, each match, as briefly as I possibly can. Sometimes just using one word that we can just elaborate on. And I would say that WrestleMania 41 was flawed but fun. Yeah.
That's definitely
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. I had a good time. I had a good time watching WrestleMania 41. I'm not going to sit there and go, they did what? Or anything like that. It didn't, none of it angered me, but definitely surprised me. I think if you, I think if you're going to get angry over it, then I'm like, all right, fair enough. But at the end of the day, I'm like, there's going to be plenty more pay-per-views down the road, and we'll
Yeah.
get into that as well. But let's start. We're not necessarily going to do this in chronological order. Let's just address the elephant in the room that is the WWE Undisputed Championship match between John Cena and Cody Rhodes, because obviously this is one of the biggest talking points. So, Mark, what did you think about the match?
I would start with okay. It did
Yeah,
happen,
yeah.
and it wasn't what I expected it to be, and it wasn't the best WrestleMania main event. And I think because of the night before overshadowing it, very much so.
Yeah.
Maybe they got that in the wrong order. Yeah,
Definitely. I mean, the thing is with this card is that it's like, yes, now when you look at it with hindsight, and hindsight is a completely useless thing. The triple threat match the night before way surpassed the entertainment value that this one provided. First of all, I mean, John Cena won. He is our new WWE Undisputed World Champion, which I was like, correct move, because otherwise the heel turn would have been pointless. I'm sure it could have happened maybe at SummerSlam or something, but no, it's WrestleMania. This is your Big Daddy pay-per-view. Pay-per-view, pay-per-view. And it was the right move. But I think that it was just a very sudden ending. Like I sent you a video of me reacting to it, and it was kind of, and I think everyone thought that, to be honest. We're like, okay, so that was quick. And yeah, okay. So one thing I want to address on is a lot of people are saying, oh, the match was bad by design. I don't know. Have you heard these rumors?
heard a little bit of it in whole of John Cena trying to ruin wrestling sort of angle.
Mm. Mm. So, sure, okay, you can have that argument. But call me a classic. I just wanted an entertaining main event. This is the go home match of WrestleMania. This is the last thing people are going to remember, and it is the biggest match on the card. So yes, John Cena is doing a wonderful job of basically just being a colossal dick. He's doing a great job with that. He furthers his attitude and his approach to the whole thing on the Raw After Mania, which we'll get to a little bit later. But ultimately, I was disappointing. The word I put down on here was underwhelming. That's the word that I described this match as. And I think that's fair to say. Not to mention a lot of strange choices I thought were happening here, especially with, well, how can we say? There was no Rock, which surprised me. What are you?
Yeah, he was in Hawaii, right? He was in Hawaii, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
But as you mentioned that, The Rock never said he would be anywhere, just that he was picking a champion to be his champion. That doesn't mean he needs to be there, even though we want him to be there.
Yeah. I was not. I think I was disappointed that he wasn't there, but I wasn't like, you ruined everything. I don't really feel that. I was like, wait, The Rock wasn't there, but I'm like, there's still a lot to go. But the inclusion of Travis Scott, I think was like when he came out, I was just like, you're not a wrestler. Like, what are you going to do? Like, to be quite honest, like how does this help Cena in any way? Like, what are you going to do? So I kind of felt a bit, and confused. And I think that was a main trope of the match where I was like, I'm doing a lot of, okay, right. Is this right? Like, I was questioning it a lot. And there was some good moments to have. I thought John Cena was great as a heel. Like, he's always said that he wants to take wrestling away from the fans, and he's doing a great job. Like, he's actively shouting out his spots. Like, he's not even being subtle with it. He's like sharing the magic. He's not even doing the whispering in the ear. He's doing the shoulder barging and going, again. Things like that. Like, he's literally just shouting out wrestling secret. He is determined to ruin wrestling, and everything that comes with it. And I think he's doing a great job.
I would just say Travis Scott was there because he was also producing the soundtrack. And how much can we make out of this from the WWE perspective? He's already been out there. Let's throw him out again. Make our money, make our dollar. And also Cody Rhodes needed to have sort of retribution against him for hitting him and breaking his eardrum in real life. And then just there.
He was just there. And we heard this theme a lot. Me, bing, 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 bing. And it goes, okay, I think maybe, and I think it'd be good in future WrestleManias, is that instead of just having one song, maybe we could have like maybe 3 or 4 or something, just to give it a bit of range. Because I was like, we agree with that a lot. And it's fair to say that every wrestling fan is not just going to watch part of the show. They're going to get the total package. We want to watch the whole thing. So it did go a little bit tiresome. I know a lot of people talk and saying like, oh, this song is rubbish. It's not very good. I think it suited the event. I was like, it's fine. I'm never going to go on Spotify and actively listen to this track. I'm not the biggest Travis Scott fan. But anyway, I thought his inclusion was very strange. The ending was, I felt like when he hit him with the belts, I was like, right, Act 3, here we go. Now, I wasn't necessarily expecting running after running after running, because I'm thinking like, well, you're not going to do that every year, because that was the template for last year's WrestleMania. You want to do something different, and I'll give it credit. It was different. And he even said in the classic, in our predictions video, I hope for a classic one-on-one. And that's what we got, essentially, But when he hit him with the belt, and it was 1, 2, 3, I was just like, I thought there was like a whole nother act to happen. I thought, Cody's kicking out of that. And he didn't. He's just lost.
I don't know how you were watching it, but when I'm watching it, I watched night 1 live, and I watched night 2 the next day, like after it aired, and I look at the timer that's left. I was just like, we've got 3 minutes left. And it's happened really, other than Travis Scott come out and 5 attitude adjustments, or however many attitude adjustments we had in that match.
We did.
I will say something. Match was okay. Did you see John Cena in the after press conference?
No, I didn't. At this point, I was just like, okay, I think I've just literally sat through 9 hours of wrestling. There's always more content. I've been watching some kickoff stuff. I'm going to bed. To be quite honest, this is so.
just very, very quick
Sure.
thing that he did. He was getting lots of questions, and he kept on saying, that sounds like a clickbait question.
I did see this. Yeah. So I was like, okay.
Brilliant.
Okay. Yeah.
Absolutely.
He is embracing the heel character brilliantly, and I am genuinely excited when he comes out. And I'm like, yeah, he's doing this really well. He's a very nasty man. It was a bad match, but I also kind of weirdly enjoyed it. But I'm very happy that he is WWE champion and will move forward. And just one last little note, I really liked Cody Rhodes' Iron Man mask. I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
Little. And I was just like, oh, upgrade. But yeah. Okay. So that's the main. Oh, sorry, carry on.
Ever since Cody came back, it's been belter after belter after belter, going from Seth Rollins to both the Roman Reigns. He's got to have something that's not as good eventually.
Yeah, definitely. And that's the thing. We can focus too much on, oh, it was a bad event because the main event wasn't very good. I'm like, no. There was plenty that I enjoyed here. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go through the entire event, starting with Saturday. So Saturday, night one, WrestleMania kicks off with the match that we were very confident saying it was going to be, which was Jey Uso versus Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. And the word I wrote down here was serviceable, because it did what it needed to do. Just put the belt on Jey. It doesn't sound like that's basically it, but I'll let you give your thoughts on this one.
That sounds like a clickbait question.
Nice.
Watch that match with Robbie, you know.
Yeah.
And we both were excited, and the finish was, we both said at the same time, huh?
Yeah.
Did that just happen? Did he just tap? And it was really confusing, because I think that the camera angles were all off. They should have gone to Jay's face, and he should have been like, but it was just
yeah. Sell the submission, sell it. And he's like,
there was none of that there. It didn't feel right.
I didn't realize Jey was so strong.
What a lovely cuddle.
Well, there you go. They just wants to give the man a hug. Thank you very much, Austin, for Gunther. It's been a pleasure working with you. I'll get up, Murray. Yeah, I mean, I was not. Yeah, exactly. There was a lot of yeeting, which was to be expected, and I was like, I mean, the thing is that Jey Uso's music alone is enough to open the event, because it gets the stadium on their feet. They love it. I think his music is kick-ass. I was like, it is really good, and I think I looked at the time briefly when that match was over, and I was like, that was a full hour. So I was like, that was a lot of yeeting. So I was like, his intro, I think his entrance was about 15 minutes. It was something like that, to be honest, because it's quite long. But you know, he's walking through a massive stadium. People want it. People like it. It's all good. Unfortunately, I thought the match was quite boring. I didn't really think it was particularly that entertaining. So, but it was serviceable. The whole point of this is open up with a positive note, put the belt on Jey Uso. And you know what? By seeing him on Monday Night Raw afterwards with the belt, with his matching gold earrings and necklace, I was like, he does look good with the belt. I'll give him credit, to be quite honest. It looks good on him. Just not entirely convinced about his matches.
Like his spear, we were saying, isn't the best spear.
Especially now you've got Bron Breakker right there. Yeah.
He needs some new moves. Like I think you mentioned that he needs some new moves.
Yeah. There can be changes. He's got the frog splash. He's got the super kick. He has the spear. But I'm like, you need something else. You need something else, kind of like a middle move. Like, for example, Sami Zayn has got the blue thunder bomb. it's a good kind of thing, like things are turning towards the end, like a sub finisher. I don't think he's ever won a match with the Blue Thunder Bomb, Sami Zayn, but it's a cool match to go, okay, this is the mark, like, next up, Haluna Kick. He kind of needs something to get the crowd like, oh man, things are getting serious. Does that make sense?
Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, Bret Hart had a whole series of moves, like where he'd go through them, like in like 7 moves. Then he'd add in new moves.
Yeah. And I'm sure he will.
This is just the minute. It's the same. Yeah, it's the same 3 moves every time. Don't get me wrong, the splash I think looks the best. I think he's got a really good frog like splash.
Yeah.
That looks great.
Yeah, it's distinctive to him.
But 4 out of 10 I gave this match.
4 out of 10. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Like I said, it just needed to put the belt. I was never particularly excited for it, for all the reasons we've been given. But look, man, I've seen way worse matches. Next up, we have got the War Raiders versus the New Day for the Tag Team Championship. I just wrote down bad finish.
It happened. I like the New Day. They run off with the belts for some reason, even though they won it. It's not like they stole them. Like, it wasn't like it was that he held onto his foot. It wasn't like a really thiefy finish, like enough to. Yeah. But and I don't think the War Raiders are that quick to be able to catch them. To be fair, they could have briskly walked down the aisle.
Yeah. I mean, I'll give the War Raiders credit. They are big, bulky men that do moves that should not be in their set list. So I'm like, you're doing something that's not expected. You know, you're doing moonsaults off the top, which I was kind of like, what, that nearly went wrong, because he kind of almost under rotated a little bit. And I was like, you nearly landed right on the back of your neck there. And I was like, but okay. So I'll give them credit. They do moves that should not be in their arsenal for people of their stature. But it was never a match that I thought, can't wait for the World Tag Team Championship. I was like, the New Day are going to get the belts. They should have the belts. They're the top tag team heels at the moment. And it would look good on them because people hate them. And if you're champions, that's double the hate. You know, you can have a lot of fun with that. And the New Day are great on the mics, especially Xavier Woods. He's really good at just stirring up a crowd. Yeah. So next up, and I think this was the first point where I started to get invested, and that is Jade Cargill versus Naomi for nothing. It was, I don't know why I thought it was for a belt. It's not. It was Jade Cargill versus Naomi, and I really liked Naomi's new entrance. I thought it was really cool. Jade's as well. I like the fact that Jade is being like advertised as like this superhero, Storm, like X-Men figure, like descending from the clouds. And I was like, yeah, you do want to market her as a bit of a superhero because look at her. So, what are your thoughts?
I was saying, like, she looked like someone out of Final Fantasy VII, like with that sweep sort of like hair coming down here. The white hair looked awesome. Really, like exactly like you. I wasn't. My eyes started to open up to this match. Then there was some nice moves in it just randomly. They did definitely think about. They definitely thought about it. I would have liked Naomi to win, but it makes sense for Cargill to win.
Yeah,
revenge.
It definitely. I mean, this was this one was kind of like it could go either way. Really, my money was on Jade Cargill because she's Jade Cargill. It's her first singles match at Wrestlemania. She's obviously going to be a future champion because I can already see the gold around her waist because she just looks like a champion. She's clearly like a professional bodybuilder. Not saying the rest of them aren't, but her physique it's pretty incredible. And the word I wrote down, my brief review was that suplex catch, which I thought was really good. When Naomi jumps off the rope and she catches her and turns her up into a suplex, I was like, that was wicked.
Yeah.
So, yeah, right result. Also, Jade's pin. I like her pin where she like licks her hand like that. I thought that's a really stylistic pin. I like that. I like a good solid pin, like a distinctive one.
in our predictions video, you had the opener, you had match 2 and match 3 all correct.
Yes.
I just mean the order of the card. The order
So
of the
far,
card you had
yes,
spot on, except for the one match mix around.
Except for the next match, which was the first mistake. Oh, well, we can't have it all. But I was thinking that. I was like, so far, so good in predicting the card, which is kind of rewarding. But there we go. So next up, we have LA Knight versus Jacob Fatu for the United States Championship. This was a fantastic match, and I put in brackets, obligatory high-performance car entrance. So that usually you get every Mania, somebody always comes in a sweet ride, and I thought, what a beautiful Maserati that he came in. Didn't know Maserati did a sports model, but makes sense.
Well, we'll come on to Stone Cold Steve Austin's ride and see.
Oh, we'll get to that. I made a note on that one. Short comment, I put should have opened. I was like, this was the first match that I was like, right, Wrestlemania has begun. This match was great. You've got two very charismatic wrestlers. LA Knight kind of opens up with... I think LA Knight has a very good-looking neck breaker. I was like, it's basically a reverse RKO. He's able to get his body completely horizontal in the air. It just looks really good. It looks like a reverse diamond cutter in a kind of way. Correct result. This was Jacob Fatu's time. You can tell that the crowd really liked this. I mean, this man he's wicked. And so I'm like, yeah, if he's one of those wrestlers that if you hear his music and he comes out, you're like, oh. So yeah, I had a very fun time with this match. Lots of good spots. Yeah, this was great. I said possibly could have opened. That would have been quite a good little swerve if they opened with this match, because it was good enough to open the event, in my opinion. What do you think?
It just brought the intensity, didn't it? Up like up from here to...
Yeah.
And that's what Jacob Fatu brings to the occasion, and just the coolness of LA Knight more than anything. He's just cool. He's like a blend between Austin and The Rock.
Yeah.
But like for now. And I think key for now is to not have him lose for a while, because you know, he needs to be pushed up.
Cool. Yeah. First great match of the weekend. Really, really enjoyed it. Up next, I've got Cody Rhodes enjoys flogging his vodka. So it's now time to sell some booze. And here's the one thing I love. It's like he says something like an American drink in an American way. But the cocktail he was drinking was a Moscow Mule. Now, I know what a Moscow Mule is because I had many of them when I lived in Shanghai. And it's easily recognizable by the copper tankard cup. You have to have it from that cup. That's what makes a Moscow Mule, which I thought was quite funny. So I was like, American drink an American way. Russian cocktail. So, but yeah, all these things.
Mommy,
next up,
Mommy, can I have some vodka, please?
Now it's time for the dads. So, have I looked into buying a bottle of Cody Rhodes vodka? No, because I don't think I've ever really bought a bottle of vodka in my life. But yeah. Anyway, moving swiftly on, we now have my current favorite wrestler in the WWE, El Grande Americano, taking on Rey Fenix, which I think worked out to be a good thing, to be honest. I didn't actually know that the Rey Mysterio match was not happening. I was like, that must have happened in the kickoff. But I didn't know. I thought it was Rey versus Grande. And nope, we got Rey Fenix instead. I've definitely got thoughts on this, but we'll start with you.
Yeah, I'm happy that it wasn't Rey Mysterio, because in the last episode, like I talked about how often he wins matches, and I worried that for El Grande that he might lose if it was Rey Mysterio, whereas with Rey Fenix, I think El Grande could pick up the win there. I loved the end sequence when Phoenix jumps off the ropes and he headbutts him with the bit of metal in there, and he just like
yeah
completely like explored it, and then
Yeah.
I just thought it was. I thought it was perfect. I don't think Mysterio could have sold that like that. I thought it was great.
No, that's the thing. I was like, they definitely benefited from this because Ray Phoenix, I was like, he is definitely one to watch because, I mean, now I don't know anything much about luchador wrestling. And I know they did announce a little bit later on that WWE has acquired AAA luchador wrestling as a company. So I'm sure you're going to get a larger influx of these kinds of wrestlers, which makes perfect sense. But Ray Phoenix, that man, I love his, like, he literally sprints along the ropes and kicks him in the head. Like, he does some proper Assassin's Creed stuff. So I'm like, yeah, he's one to watch. But El Grande is just a wrestler that puts a smile on my face. And his entrance was perfect with the entire mariachi band. The filter, like the classic Mexican wrestler, looking at the crowd going, gracias! I love him. He literally is my favorite wrestler at the moment because he just makes me giggle because he's just laying into this luchador world, and I'd love to know what the luchador wrestlers think. Obviously, they're probably having a blast with it, but I'm like, I wonder if anyone's getting offended at that because he's just embracing like the stereotypical how people see Mexicans, and I'm like, but that's not take away that Chad Gable this is my right level of silly wrestling. All right, sometimes wrestling needs to be funny and silly, and let's not take it away. Chad Gable is a very talented man, and I wrote down that reverse 450 off the top rope. Yeah. Yeah, that's the good point. They bought, maybe they acquired AAA wrestling just for Chad Gable. Sorry, El Grande Americano.
El Grande.
Yeah, El Grande Americano. Okay, so yeah, after the Ray Phoenix and El Grande match, correct that El Grande won. I thought that was the wise decision. Yeah, keep this character going.
This can continue on.
Then the HBK Heartbreak Kid came out to read out the attendance numbers. Always nice to see good old Shawn Michaels just pop out for a little bit and say hello. Like that. Followed by, I saw it didn't really say much. I think it was like 61,000 or something like that. So not as big as the previous manias, but it's still 60,000+ people. Let's be honest, it's still pretty big. So I wouldn't go as far to say it was a mini mania because you got 60,000 people there, but definitely felt a little smaller. But hey, that's the stadium they got. Good to do it in Las Vegas. One little observation I made after this is I saw a guy in the crowd when the camera was panning over the people in the crowd. There was a guy holding up a sign that just said, "I can't read." That's it. And I was just like, interesting.
My favorite sign had to be the massive baby's head.
Yeah, I was just like, okay, congratulations, you just had a newborn baby. But sometimes I like to do that, you know, it's not just about the matches. I'm like, I like to look at the people. Yeah. Okay, so a match that I'd gone pretty quickly from don't care to I'm very much interested is now is Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair for the WWE Undisputed Women's Championship. Just WWE Championship, isn't it? Women's Championship. Is that right? Yeah, I think it is. Good promo package. I liked the Lady Gaga song. Can't remember how it goes, but I'm thinking this is a really good package for this match. You're definitely making this feel like a WWE Championship match. So I thought that was really good. One word, I just put brawl. Like a lot of it reflected what they needed to do, not necessarily stylistic moves, well choreographed. This was just a lot of like hair pulling, scratching, punching, and just it felt like, yeah, this needs to feel like a dogfight, to be quite honest, because that's kind of how you've set it up, you know, in your promos, if you're gossiping and stuff like that. It's got very bitchy and it's got very heated. So that's the kind of match it was. And I'm really glad that Tiffany won. I was like, Tiff needs to win this. to be honest. Charlotte does not need another championship right now. You could do a similar thing with her in the women's division, all-time record holder. How far can I go with this? Maybe Charlotte could beat her dad's record, or now John Cena's. You could do an angle with that. But it was immediately obvious from the crowd reaction when Charlotte Flair came out, they did not want her to win.
Defo. I've actually been really pleasantly surprised with this match, because in our last video I was just like, I am not interested in the slightest in the match. I've gave this a 9 out of 10.
Wow, yeah. It was a very good match.
I was really surprised. It was like fast paced. It was, I've used the word scrappy rather than brawl.
Yeah.
And it had a few, could have done with some extra high fly spot, but I was happy with it.
Yeah, a lot of back and forth, like submission moves and stuff like that, trying to counter the figure of 8 and things like that. And by the end of it, Tiffany Stratton, she looked beat up. You know, her lip was clearly a bit swollen. She's obviously, it's got very heated in the moment, as it does for these kinds of matches. You know, the wrestlers, they do try and take the best care of each other as they can. But, you know, when the crowd is pumping and you've got the audience, sometimes you just accidentally just hit each other. So she looked good. She looked beat up with the championship. And I was like, this is going to do great for you, Tiffy. So definitely averted my eyes in her direction more. Now she's got that big win, to be honest. So never mind Charlotte, but I'm sure Charlotte will probably take the championship again, but not just yet. There's newer, fresher talent that we need to rise for, because like I said, Charlotte Flair is already like Hall of Fame inductee kind of material. Like, it's a guaranteed thing, you know, but I'm sure she's got quite a bit of time left. This takes us up to the main event of the night. CM Punk versus Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins. And do you know what? I accidentally saw the promo package the night before, and I didn't realize that was the promo package. And that was given to us amazingly by Machine Head, because I was like, that's definitely Rob Flynn's voice, because he's got a very distinctive like metal voice. And I was like, this was a great promo package. And I saw it the night before. I just went onto YouTube and went, what's this? And I watched it. And then I realized by watching Wrestlemania, oh, that's the promotional VT. So, yeah, everything was great. Seth Rollins comes out dressed in his like Lady Gaga costume. And then the lights go out and has a mid-entrance costume change. Roman Reigns just has his classic, I'm the boss, slowly walking down the ramps with like all of the Bloodline previous members being shown on the Titantrons being like lowered behind him. And I thought, that's really cool. Yeah, there's a lot of heritage going on there. His music is just naturally just amazing for the stadium. And then you had CM Punk's classic 2013 kind of entrance, grey hoodie, live band. Yeah, it was, the entrances for this match were absolutely fantastic, and we haven't even started the match yet. So I'm going to let you take this one. Go on then. What have you got, Mark?
I think it's all about the entrances, though, especially for the main event. And if they weren't good, it was nice to see Yokozuna and Rikishi heritage thing that you were mentioning.
Yeah,
because I don't think a lot of the fans know about it. Really, like a lot of the younger fans would know about stuff like that. Right. The match itself, I literally from start to finish, I was like, just like really invested, like in every move. It's kind of like what Hart and Austin sort of thing. Like everything, every move in that match it meant something to get to the end.
Yeah.
And obviously then we're at the end, and so much happened at the end.
Yeah.
There's so much drama.
Oh man, that's the word I chose.
I like how Heyman changed character for each person he was with.
Ooh. Seth Rollins. How could you even begin to trust this man? You've just openly watched him betray two wrestlers in the same match in front of you. How can you even trust him? But that's the beautiful like gravity that Paul Heyman brings to the wrestling matches, because he is an amazing snake in the grass. You know, when he wants to be your best friend, he's your best friend. If he wants to be your loyal servant, he will be. But if he wants to betray you, he definitely will. He will do anything to come out in a shiny situation. And I did not see this coming. I did not. I was like, I wasn't sure. Because I said CM Punk because I was too pre-obsessed with the idea. It's Money in the Bank. So I thought that for me, I was like, that makes sense. I'm going to go with this. And you teetered on the fact that Seth Rollins was going to win. And I honestly, in my head, I thought, you're out of your mind. I don't know, just like is what I was thinking. But yeah, that was great. It was bare drama, good moves. Just, you've got the three best. The best in the company right here in a triple threat at WrestleMania. There's no way this is going to be bad. It's like, definitely not.
Just on where we go from here, really. But I think we'll cover that. I think we'll cover that afterwards, won't we?
Yeah. It's allowed for a lot of more further directions to go. Where is CM Punk going to go with this? Is he going to have a match with Roman Reigns? Are they going to come together? Or is Roman going to go after Seth? They're both obviously going to go after Seth, but they're also going to go after Paul Heyman as well, because they have both been betrayed and they want blood for justice, you know. So there's a few ways that this could go, which keeps it interesting. So these three are very much not finished, and it was a great closing angle for night one. I was like, that fully delivered. I was like, that was, like you said, it was the main event. You know, definitely better out of the two. I think it's fair to say that was the ultimate main event of the weekend.
Seth has never had, and we'll touch upon this after the Raw, but he's never been the leader of a group.
Yeah.
He's always been like a part of the Authority or a part of the Shield. Now I think this is his time for, you know, how Randy Orton got legacy, you know. It's the time for him to and then bring people up with him.
I managed to predict all of the results 100% until the last match. You let me down, Punk. You let me down. But I don't care, because that was better. Better.
And I just wished I went with my initial thoughts with it, because I was thinking Seth Rollins the whole time up until Raw, when WWE threw me a curveball that they always do when they have somebody hovering over the competitors at the last minute.
Yeah.
And that messed with my mind, and I changed my answer.
Yeah. It was a solid event. So naturally that moves us over to Sunday. So Sunday night 2 starts off with just all the wrestlers walking in with their suitcases. Judgment Day are just having a nice little hangout moment backstage. All of that kind of stuff. People going, getting excited, you know, little backstage segments. At this point in the event, I've written down, I never want to hear that Travis Scott song again. I was like, I'm getting pretty annoyed by this. Yeah. You know, it's like, and even another Travis Scott song would be fine. You know, kind of thing, but I'm kind of getting this bean. Just like, okay, that's enough. Then kicking off the event was Stephanie McMahon coming out and giving an introduction, referring to a nice little coincidental story of how she was 16 years old for the last WrestleMania to take place in Las Vegas, which was WrestleMania 9? Is that right? Yeah, I wasn't sure. It's 8 or 9. It's not a double-figured number. That's all I can remember. Which is kind of renowned as being one of the worst WrestleManias ever happened. But honestly, when I watched WrestleMania 9 as a kid, I absolutely loved it. I thought it was amazing. I loved the whole Caesar's Palace kind of thing and wrestlers coming in on camels and stuff like that. I thought this was great. I was like, I think Jerry Lawler or someone. Was it Jerry Lawler? No, it couldn't have been. Someone with, they're all
Bobby
dressed in
Heenan.
togas. Bobby Heenan. That's it. I thought it was great, but then I did watch it when I was a little bit older and understood wrestling a little bit more, and I was like, yeah, it's not the best. But it looked cool. But yeah, saying that she was 16 years old when she was watching WrestleMania 9, and now her 16-year-old daughter is at the current WrestleMania in Las Vegas. And I was like, that's quite a nice little family moment there. Other than that, welcome to WrestleMania! And all of that. So here we go, kicking off night 2 with the only match that I thought was going to start the night, and that's the triple threat between Io Sky versus Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair for the World Women's Heavyweight Championship. And I've written down 2 words: perfectly executed. What do you think, Mark?
Absolutely. This was my favorite match of night 2. Like 10 out of 10. You end night 1 with a 10 out of 10, and you begin in night 2 with a 10 out of 10. Could only go down in this from here.
Yeah. Technically, from
it was
Saturday night and starting with Sunday, you have had banger after banger, technically, because there's a whole day to separate them.
Yeah. The winner that wanted won, and they had some great moves. Did you see when Rhea Io onto the ring post?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you know what? I had a little tear in my eye when Io won. I was just like, she's got such an infectious personality. And I know it sounds patronizing, but I'm like, I just think she's adorable, to be quite honest. Like, I really wanted Io to win. I was like, she has to win. WWE, you have got me. I'm on Io's side. You've wanted to make me feel bad for her, and I did. Kind of thing. And I was like, she has to win, kind of thing. If Rhea or Bianca won, I'd be like, sure, they're championship quality. The audience really did not want Bianca to win. But and I was just like, yeah, okay, so maybe a bit of a change up might be required from Bianca in the future, because she is great. Bianca Belair is fantastic, but she represents kind of an ideology it's very like why people booed John Cena, the kind of like all American kind of thing. It's like, yeah, all right, okay. But Io winning, when she, even with the final moments, which was like finisher after finisher, I was like calling it just as it's about to happen. I was like, you have read my mind, WWE. You know exactly what you're doing. So it's like going for the riptide on Bianca, that gets countered. She goes for the good old hair whip, which I think is always a good spot. Didn't quite get the ricochet from Chamber on Liv Morgan, but good enough. I was like, yeah, he just slapped her across the tits. She's like, ah! I was like, poor, yeah, you're just going to have to take that one. Then that goes into the EST, do it on that way, puts her in the pin. Io Sky moonsaults over them. And when she's like holding and going like that with the 1, 2, 3, just smiling into the camera.
Yeah.
And I was just like, wicked. Perfect. That's exactly what you needed to do.
And the disbelief at thinking that she's just won as well. Like, she almost didn't believe that she could do it, but we believe in you, Io.
Oh, man, absolutely. I was sitting there having my beer, and I was just like, I'm really happy. I'm so glad I'm alone. But yeah, it was great, because we talked about this earlier. I was like, Io Sky was first out. It's always a pet peeve of mine that the champion comes out first, champion should come out last. Call me a traditionalist, but that's what I think. And her entrance was kind of flat, really. I was just like, oh, okay. But then, yeah, I was just like, okay, she's coming out. She's got the WrestleMania coat. She's got the coat that she'll only wear for Mania, because that's what you do at Mania. And then I was just kind of, as she was walking down the ramp, the crowd was kind of, yeah, oh, here's Guy, that's cool. There we go. just not really that bothered. Just kind of, oh, that's cool, but I'm not like, it's not the "Whoa" part that you want on your first opening match. But I guess that was by design. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it 100% was by design.
Yeah,
I believe that they wanted to downplay her as much as possible.
it worked.
Surprise win.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just to point out, when you're talking about entrances,
Mhm.
Bianca Belair's stepdaughter, I did not know she had a stepdaughter.
Nope. This is the first time I'm hearing it, Mark. You care to enlighten me?
Unless I was delirious when watching it, but in her entrance, I'm sure they said stepdaughter. I'll have to rewatch it.
Not sure. I really don't know. Maybe I was thinking like, why is one of the girls in gold and the rest are in red t-shirts? I was like, maybe family member, not sure, but I was like, and they're just doing all their skipping and dancing and everything's just great and bouncy and fitness and health and spirits are high, and I'm just like, yeah, I get it. It works for her character, but I think people are starting to get a little bit bored. But not taking anything away from Bianca, she is the total package. She can do everything. I'm sure at some point they might think about turning her heel, and I think she'd be a great heel, to be quite honest, because she's very emotional. She's very expressive. Nothing really else to add on that other than the fact that it was just a perfectly executed match and very, very happy and great way to start night 2. Moving on next then, we have the Sin City Street Fight. I'm not sure why it's called a Sin City Street Fight. Is there a place in Vegas called Sin City, or is it just cool? I wasn't sure about that bit. But a Sin City Street Fight between Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre. And I wrote down decent.
Yeah, no one's really talking about it. No one's really talking about that match, but it's got some great things happened in it. Like,
lots of things.
Some really impressive things, especially early on. Like, I was just like, what Drew did is like flip over the top.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Remember that?
Yes. Absolutely.
Just impressive stuff.
It was. There were some good spots. Fair play to Damian Priest. He took a battering in this one. So he had a few moments through tables. The Razor's Edge, of course, on Drew going through the table. There was a lot of things happening here. And I think it's a simple case of suffering from second match on the card syndrome, that it kind of falls into the category of like, if you go second or third, you kind of run the risk of being a little bit forgotten because there's a lot going on, to be quite honest. So the finish, the opener and the ending are guaranteed you're going to do that. And anything in before it runs the risk, to be quite honest, of being forgotten. But it was a good match. Good spots with the right result. I'm glad that Drew McIntyre won this one. I wouldn't have had anything against Damian Priest winning. I just felt like, it feels right that Drew won, to be quite honest. And again, entrances were good. Obviously, promotion for Doom 3, Doom Dark Ages. And I was like, sure, why not? Like each match has got a sponsor.
Yeah.
Damian Priest having Kerry King from Slayer as well, which I was like, cool. Damian Priest is clearly a big fan of Slayer and all that. The whole looking back and just, I bet he was thinking, not necessarily his character, but he was thinking, that's really cool. I never thought that would happen. He clearly is a fan. So, that was really cool. I mean, apart from that, I don't really have much more to add on it. I thought it was a really good match. And if you just sat me down and said, watch this match, I'd be like, decent. Brings us to one of my most anticipated matches of the weekend. It is the Fatal 4-Way between Dominic Mysterio, Finn Balor, Bron Breakker, and Penta for the Intercontinental Championship. I wrote down one word: wicked.
I have the only one that I predicted right.
That is true. It's not the only one.
But I was winning this match.
Like I said, the prediction was locked in. I've gone with Bron. I can't change it now. It's like saying, actually, can I change another horse to put money on halfway through the match? This is like, because he's clearly not going to win. But as it progressed, further through the end, then I was like, it's Dominic. It's like Dominic is winning. And you know what? That was a great moment that when he won and he held up the belt, everyone just went, yeah. Like that was the right move. That he goes up the ramp and he goes, screw it, and he goes back to the ring and he does it again. And I was like, is this going to change his character then? I was like, is Dominic kind of now become a heel that's so hated that people just like him? Kind of like what The Rock and Stone Cold were. Because I know Stone Cold was a face, but he acted like a heel, didn't he? Let's be honest. So, yeah, this was a great match. Lots of good moments in it. What thoughts have you got?
I've been waiting for this moment since he turned heel. Like, I think the stats were 0 and 3. I think before that. I think Breaker Maths told us that he wasn't going to be the one that won.
No, I like the way that they had to break Bron Breakker down. I was like, a finisher is not going to put this man down. Look at him. So you're going to have to do finisher after finisher after finisher, and it was great. So what I'm trying to think of the order that happened. I liked Finn's involvement as well. Like basically, oh yeah, that was it. Dominic Mysterio hits the 619 on Bron Breakker, putting him on the floor. He goes to the top to go for the frog splash. All's look good. Good old Finn Balor, perfectly timed, climbs onto the ring and pulls him off the turnbuckle, leaving him smashing his balls on the corner and out of it. He grabs Bron Breakker, he basically puts him down, he sets him up for the coup de grace. He does exactly that. The coup de grace hits. Dominic Mysterio comes back alive, frog splash onto the pair of them, pins Finn, 1, 2, 3. And I was like, excellent. I was like, yeah, that's a great. He needed to pin Finn, not just win, but that way. I was like, that's what needed to happen because it creates drama in the Judgment Day.
Definitely. Penta with the I've forgotten what the move's called. Where he flips them back. Something Destroyer.
Oh, the Mexican Destroyer.
That looked great.
Yeah.
But I still feel I think I like his brother more.
Ray has more agility, but I think Penta has more suave. He's got more charisma. Like, I love his walk that he does. You know, when he walks and he's got his kind of like strut. And Penta is distinctive because it can sometimes with lucha wrestlers, it can be quite a little bit like, wait, which lucha am I talking about now? But Pinker clearly stands out because his face is like filled with like black makeup underneath it. Like, he looks like quite a hellish luchador wrestler, so he kind of stands out. So they've both got good qualities, in my opinion. I think Penta's going to do well. I think he probably will be Intercontinental or have some kind of bout. Yeah, I like him. I like him a lot. But yeah, this was a great match. Then we had Randy Orton's moment. Nice Randy Orton tribute package. Wrestlemania tribute package. I thought that was a good little promo talking about this guy's been doing it for 20 years. He's done pretty well. So I was like, yeah, that's a really cool package. Randy Orton versus a mystery opponent comes down the ring. This was my PPOTN, personal pop of the night. I did not expect this. It was like not at all. Of course, I would thought it was Aleister Black. We put that in our predictions.
Both of us had Aleister Black.
Yeah, I think a lot of people did. They were like, it's going to be Aleister Black. Yeah. And do you know what, Mark? I thought I was genuinely brilliant when I thought of that. I was like, I'm a genius. Everyone was thinking it. I was like, I'm an idiot. So, yeah, and it opens up and it's Joe Hendry. And I genuinely was just like, that is amazing. So good.
Yeah. My favorite part of that is not watching that happen, it is watching you watching that happen.
I've rewatched that video and there's like just a moment when I'm talking to the camera. I'm talking to the camera but watching the TV, and it's in the closing moments, like the 3 seconds before it gets announced. My eyes just change where I'm just like, what is it? Like I'm just like locked in, like nothing else matters. Who's behind the curtain? Do you know what I mean? It is like a bomb could go off behind me. And I'm like... But Joe Hendry is like, I mean, local UK, born in Scotland, was about maybe 5-6 years ago, was a YouTuber and was vlogging that how he wanted to make it as a professional wrestler. And he's just been climbing the ladders each time. And he even said, one of the wrestling podcast channel I watch is Cultaholic, and they were friends with Joe Hendry. And even they were telling stories. Says, I remember going to a supermarket and I was in a shopping trolley in Asda with Joe Hendry, and they were talking about their dream matches. And he said back then, my dream match would be at Wrestlemania against Randy Orton. And I was like, he's done it. It's like he's actually done it. So I was like, really happy for it. A lot of people referring to this as a squash match, but I don't entirely agree with that.
I don't think.
No.
Yeah. It went on for too long to be a squash.
Yeah,
Squashes need to be like 30 seconds. Yeah. One of my favourite things about that match, Rich, was after the match when Randy Orton does his turnaround to the camera.
Yeah, that was great. It's Randy Orton's 20th WrestleMania. It's good. Did it make Joe Hendry look a bit weak? Of course it did. But you're going against Randy Orton on his 20th anniversary. It doesn't matter. And I hope to see more of Joe Hendry. He was in the Royal Rumble. He was now at Mania. I'm sure he's going to cross the pond at some point. But kind of like, you've got a lot to learn, kid. But I'll see you soon. Do you know what I mean? It's like, so I loved that moment. That was the surprise announcement I was waiting for. Anything else you want to add?
No, loved it. It was great.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay. At this point, I wrote down a lot of adverts for future PPVs. Yeah, we've established that already. We know exactly what's happening for the rest of the year. Not that we needed knowledge, but there's a lot going on. Kind of maybe runs the risk of burnout a little bit. It's quite an intense schedule. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
But I guess we'll just see. Up next, we got Logan Paul versus AJ Styles. I thought this was a great match. The word I chose was solid on this one. And Logan's entrance was really cool. I liked where he's coming out what I thought was his phone. And I was like, he is a YouTuber. So like him or hate him, that's what he is. And it turns out to be a drone that flies off. And I was like, actually, that's really cool. So I really enjoyed his entrance, flying through the crowd, going to 2 screens, 4 screens, 10 screens, all the screens, because of course Logan Paul is a very popular YouTuber and he's on a lot of screens. Nice subtlety there, WWE. And then the drone comes back into the ring and he catches it and he puts it in the corner outside. And I was like, do you know what, mate? That was wicked. that was a really cool entrance.
The match wasn't up to my standards in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
I thought we were going to have a lot of like flying spots into each other. Not sure why we didn't do any of that stuff, and it just felt like a classic heel on face match with some outside interference.
Yeah,
it was all right. It wasn't the best match for AJ Styles, and it wasn't the best match for Logan Paul. But I like that Logan Paul won.
Yes, me too. I'm happy that Logan Paul won. I think it's more important for him as a character. I think he's got a great hateful character because he is, generally speaking, he is very unliked from basically based on his early YouTube days, uploading very questionable videos. And I think that has obviously rubbed people the wrong way, as it should for the time. But at the same time, that was a very long time ago. You know, he's just got all the qualities of somebody you don't want to like. He was born rich. He put horrible videos on the internet. He's very talented in pretty much anything that he's done. He's conquered YouTube. He did extremely well in boxing, and he's naturally talented in WWE. And I think that a lot of people don't like that because they like to believe that these wrestlers have practiced and trained and worked hard to get where they are. And you've got this rich kid who's just turned up and he can just do it. To be quite honest. So And even though there might be a lot more training happening behind the scenes, he did say in an interview on his first match with The Miz at WrestleMania, I've never done this before. And it's like, you're a natural. Yeah, people should hate you. So,
yeah.
Also very impressive that, I know this sounds a little condescending, AJ can still move with someone like Logan Paul. Like he was like running around that ring like crazy. Like he wasn't showing any signs of age at all. I was like, because he is easily, I think he's probably maybe 20 years older than Logan, to be honest, and he can move. And I thought that was really impressive. But yeah, it was a solid match. Am I going to remember it in the future? Probably not. If I rewatch this WrestleMania maybe in 5 years' time, I'll be like, oh yeah, that happened, kind of thing. But it was decent. Not amazing, but it was decent, I thought. And then a moment after that, which I had to write down, which was Pat McAfee Netflix promotion fail. Right, so it cuts to the commentators, right? And they're talking about a new upcoming WWE show in the summer called WWE Unreal, which is a behind-the-scenes look showing you exactly how they put these things together, which I'm very much looking forward to because I'm interested in how the industry works. And Pat McAfee had a moment of just a major brain fart halfway through a sentence where he said, oh, I can't wait for Netflix to work in combination with this show and watch. Like he just completely forgot what he said. And Michael Cole just burst out laughing, just like fail kind of thing. Like, and I thought that was a nice little moment. And Pat McAfee was just wah, wah, wah. He just wanted to plug a show and it just backfired. I thought that was a funny moment. Okay, up next we had what I labeled down as the piss break match, and I couldn't have been more wrong. It is Liv Morgan, Raquel Vasquez, Lyra Valkyria, and meant to be Bayley. And I did not know this. I was like, what? Why is Bayley not competing? Because I didn't watch the kickoff. Silly me. Should have been 11 hours of WrestleMania, Richard, not a measly 9. But no, I didn't watch it. So I was like, from your comments saying, watch it, Richard, watch it. And I was like, yeah, I'm not good. I'm not literally going to go to the toilet for this match. I'm not in the stadium. Just that around this point, people are thinking, right, let's go fill the beers up, maybe buy some last minute t-shirts that I'm kind of regretfully not buying from earlier on. Let's see what they've got left. All that kind of stuff to get ready for the main event. And they all come out, all have their entrances. And who should make their return but Becky Lynch? And it was like, whoa. I was like, yeah, all right. Maybe the best entrance music from the women's division? I don't know. It's a guaranteed pop. And this was good. And I think the moment Becky came out, we were like, we both thought Liv Morgan and Raquel Vasquez were going to retain, but I think that was immediately obvious that was not going to be the case because look who's just come out. So, what are your thoughts?
Just to go back to just warning you that was going to happen. I thought that you maybe were talking to me and just went into the kitchen or something. It's just like, I'm just going to leave this playing for a minute because nothing's going to happen. Yeah. So that's why I rang. It's like, please just go back in.
Don't literally do that.
Walk to the kitchen and then got yourself a drink and then you come back in and Becky Lynch is in the ring, like you're like, damn it.
Running him back into the room, pulling my trousers up at the same time. Well, luckily not that it's that important. My apartment is like open plan, so my kitchen and living room literally are the same room, so it's like I still would have seen it. But yeah, this was a complete surprise to me. So I was like, excellent. You've got 2 returns. You've got 2 surprises with Joe Hendry and Becky Lynch. And I thought, that's a really solid thing. She looks great as well. She looks absolutely amazing. Looks like that time off done her a lot of good. Even though, as Seth Rollins has said in interviews, she's away from wrestling, but she's not necessarily resting. She's very occupied with other things. And I'm like, okay. But yeah, she looked really, really good. So naturally, it results in them. I wrote down, Lyra just looks like she's living the dream. She just had the expression with her wings, and there was just moments where she was just like, I can't believe this is happening. To be quite honest, so I thought she looked like she's just living the dream. So good on to Lyra Valkyria. I think she's going to have a very good career. The word I wrote, I put down potential, and I was like, that's a puzzling word to write. I just thought, okay, so this has potential moving forward, and I don't really know or knew where it was going. I thought this feels like, okay, Becky Lynch has come back, has now changed that dynamic. Whereas if it was Bayley, I think it's fair to say that Liv and Raquel would have retained.
Yeah, definitely. Going back to Lyra Valkyrie, I just think she's very, very quickly moving up the ranks. She's just got like an it factor that I didn't think was there before. Like, it's been this Intercontinental Championship run that sort of like put eyes on her. I was thinking Queen of the Ring final started to do that. I was just like, who's this? She lost to Nia Jax in the final, and now she's really coming into it. And like, I think 2 years time, she'll be one of the champions, probably.
Possibly, yeah. Yes, she's definitely turning heads. She's got a good move set list. She's got like the leg drop off the top rope. She's got a cool finisher. She's got a lot going for her. And I was just like, okay. So I look forward to seeing what she does next in regards with that. But other than that, it was a decent little match.
The match was okay. It wasn't
fine. I wouldn't put it as bad or anything like that. I thought, do you know what? You actually achieved expectations, because I didn't really have any expectations for this match. I thought, women's tag team championship match is happening. Sure. That's all I basically thought. Okay, moving on. After this, we had, I thought was kind of a confusing moment, because we had a John Cena snack down advert, but he was a face. And he just kept going like, snack down! It was like this kind of like, well, just an American bar bursting through the scenes going, snack down! Snack down! Like that proper like American advert. And I was like, Cena's a face? I was like, that's confusing right before his match, but okay. And then we got another unexpected appearance. We've got an unexpected Stone Cold Steve Austin appearance. And honestly, 25 years later, that shattered glass just going off just gets me every single time. Mark, do you want to take this back? Because I thought that was hilarious.
Did you see the person fall down like moments later afterwards? It's like they were just like, oh, here's an opportunity. Yeah.
I was just like, this is great. I was thinking like, he's driving that quite quick. I goes, he's definitely going around that ring a lot quicker than he normally does. Maybe because he's been doing a lot of dune buggy racing, hasn't he? And I was just like, I think he's getting a little bit ahead of himself here. There are no people in the desert, Steve. You're in the middle of a stadium. So yeah.
Do we know if?
Oh, sorry. Carry on.
Do we know if the person's all right? Like,
yeah, they're fine.
I know we're that. Yeah.
Oh no,
yeah. He was laughing when he got into the ring, I'm sure of it.
What? They nearly killed someone. Beer?
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, he went all the way around that ring, and I was like, okay, so he went round it, and the second time he just beached it into the barrier, bang, and he kind of went, whoops, like that, turned it off, got up. So yeah, he does the attendance figures as a beer, and then yeah, that was just like a nice little unexpected response on that one. So, and then naturally that takes us up to what we previously talked about, which was the main event, which was John Cena versus Cody Rhodes. What have I written here? I've written down good lighting. Okay. Apparently the lighting was very good. About that lighting.
For the whole event, or just that one segment?
Don't know. I think the beers started to take effect at that point. I was like, lighting's pretty good. All right. But yeah, we've already talked about this. We can move on. And that is the end of WrestleMania. So yeah, I thought it was.
Have you got the scores?
The scores, yes, of course. So how did we do over the predictions? So there were 14 matches over the weekend. You had a final score of 8, correct? 8 out of 14. And I got 10 out of 14. So there we go. Overall, you got over half.
The night 2, only because I was going for wacky scenarios. That,
of course. I mean,
you know, thinking too much. Thinking too much about it.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that I know that you were going for wacky scenarios, and I completely get that because you never know where the swerve is going to come from. But I guess now with hindsight, we can say the results were mostly predictable. They were like, yeah, I think it's fair to say.
Could I get a half point? Could I get a half point for my Seth Rollins, please?
Yeah. Yeah, 8.5 out of 4. I mean, you called it. You had it right there. It was right there, but no. I think you went with Roman.
Right there.
Yeah, you did. You went Never mind. It could have been. Could have been.
That would have made everything okay.
Yeah, absolutely. But overall, it was good. So, wake up this morning. I haven't made any notes for this. But I thought we'd just talk about it because now I sort of watched Monday Night Raw after Mania because I was like, I must admit, I am a little bit burnt out from watching all this wrestling because not only has it been WrestleMania for the past 2 days, I was watching promos, and also I've been watching all the WrestleManias from WrestleMania 28 up to 38, I think it was. I got about halfway through Sunday, and I was like, okay, I'm not gonna get up to date by this time. So I was kind of feeling a little bit burnt out. So I was like, I'm going to watch it because obviously it's going to be good. And it was. And I was like, there is a lot to talk about on here. So I guess we'll start with the closing segments on this one here. So the closing segment, I was like, okay, so what are they going to end with? And I went, oh, it's Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman. Of course it was. And then he comes out and do you want to take this one?
Just the end credits came up really early on, and I thought, like, what have they done that for? Are they trying to say that like we're going past the point of the end of the show, and then all this crazy stuff is gonna
basically it is because everybody knows that,
whoa.
Yeah, I mean, everybody knows in pay-per-views back in the day when that sort of trademark symbol pops up in the corner, you realize, okay, televised event is now coming to an end. When you see that logo, you've probably got about 10 seconds left, and then that's it. So it's kind of a trick. It's like, oh, the credits are coming out, so it's like, that's it, guys, well done, it's all over. But is it? So it's like a good story.
Because then Roman Reigns came out.
Yeah. Oh, we got a good 5 minutes left. All right.
Yeah. So that was a surprise in itself.
Yes.
Because we'd had quite the show up until then.
Yeah.
And then obviously the main point of the show was Braun Breaker.
Of course. Which I thought yes. Okay, so Braun Breaker, because I was one thing that I kind of predicted was that like Braun Breaker he's climbing the ranks quickly, and like deservedly so, because he's such a powerhouse of a character, an athlete. Like no one else moves like him. Like he's just so sharp in the way that he does things. He's so like robotic and just like, I need to go now. pow, like he's a Steiner basically. That's getting I was thinking that he's actually bigger than the Intercontinental Championship. Like he's already going into that higher echelon because he's done his homework. He's done all the work. So to put him with Paul Heyman, I was like, right, you're now on these guys' levels. So I'm like, okay. And I'm excited to see that. So you could have, I think you'll probably have Roman Reigns versus Bron Breakker, maybe at SummerSlam. Spear versus Spear. I think that sounds kind of cool. You could have them go against Punk. You could have Seth versus Punk. This can go in quite a few directions. But one thing we do know is that this triple threat feud has not ended. But now you've got Bron Breakker to include.
So what is this kind of faction that Seth Rollins is now the leader of? Because before, obviously, we've had the bloodline, and that's gone on for so long, and that was all about keeping Roman Reigns on top of the WWE. That's what the bloodline was about, like family coming together, keeping him in that spot. Seth Rollins has been very active about WWE not being, what he wants. So what is this faction gonna be?
I mean,
send that to you.
I think there could potentially be a few added members, maybe just one. You don't want to overcrowd it, but you're absolutely right. The Bloodline sort of storyline is like we kind of want to continue the Bloodline storyline, but not inherently use the Bloodline because that has been done. It's like they milked that cow for a long time, and they did an amazing job. They literally created one of the best storylines in wrestling for a very long while. So I was like, yeah, you literally had a storyline that had me counting down the days to SmackDown thinking, what's happening next? I was like, well done to you. So I think they want to kind of recreate that magic with a few new faces. I don't blame them. So in regards with that, Bron Breakker's now joined now, and this moves on. I think not in the right order, but in my mind, it's a nice segue. We had a rematch for the women's tag team championships between Lyra, Becky, Liv, and Raquel, and it turns out that they put the belts back on Liv and Raquel. They were like, okay, so we had to have Becky win because she turned up at Wrestlemania. So I was like, Becky's not losing. So take the belts, keep them warm for a while. Liv Morgan put them back on there. So we're like, okay, that was it. But then comes more drama. Becky turns heel and she betrays and blames Lyra for everything. And Lyra's lying down in the middle of the ring with the perfect expression of like, what's happening? Why are you doing this to me? Kind of thing. And I was like, yeah, that's great. And Becky's just going,
those massive deer in the headlights it was, wasn't it? Her eyes were massive. Yeah. Like she's got big eyes.
Like a little child who doesn't understand what's going on.
And Becky just kept on going back. Becky kept on going back in.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I beat her up a bit. I leave the ring. Come back. Beat her up a bit more. I leave the ring.
Yeah. That's it. So she turns heel, and I was like, Seth is now kind of heel. Seth was always kind of on the fence with the heel face kind of thing because he is a controversial character. Like he kind of bounces between the two, but now he's kind of like, I don't think people hate him. I think people still really like him, but now he's more heel than face, but he's not a complete heel at the end of the day. So it's a weird one. So I think possibly Becky Lynch joining that faction.
Ooh.
They are. It's well known they're married and have kids. Or a kid, I think. But so yeah, why not? That's why I wanted to talk about that match. I thought that's a possible. Yeah, I feel like you've got you two and I think you need one more person to make it a bit of a group because right now you just got a weird.
That'd be great.
Yeah. Okay, we're in agreement now.
Yeah, I think moving on to some more Raw points. Celebration party where you think someone might actually like challenge or hit or do something,
Yeah.
and then it didn't happen. So like it was interesting. That was.
Yeah, it is. There was a lot happening now. It's all coming back to me now, just as I think about them. Of course, we had a return as well. The return of Rusev, which I thought was really, really cool.
Brilliant.
He's got new music. He interrupts the tag team champions, sort of. And I was like, interesting that Rusev would interrupt during a tag match, but I guess it doesn't matter. To be quite honest, it's like, no, he's back. He's got some lovely new fighting shorts, some new music, but we're embracing the character of Rusev. You know, he's not Russian, basically. So he never was. So
You could say Rusev back.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was like, he talks like the Hulk. So I'm like, okay. He's still got his same moves. I'm like, we're going for classic Rusev. I'm like, excellent stuff. That's great. They're having you back here. So that was a nice pop. I'm like, okay. So unfortunately, no Aleister Black, but I'm sure he may be popping up in the future. But at the moment, yeah, that's a good return. A man to be feared, and I feel confident that he will be booked correctly. They're just going to find a path for him now, so we'll figure something out there. Of course, the show opens up with John Cena, and you always get that moment of silence before John's music hits. Like when you get that little moment of, you're like, okay, that's part of the intro. Like the John Cena's coming out with the black and white, boring, giving nothing back to the crowd, generic font, John Cena. No color, nothing, no design. Just, it might as well just say John, to be honest. So he comes out and he cuts a hell of a promo again. Even to a point where he said, he said to the crowd something about being sorry. And he goes, you're not even sorry, or something like that. And the crowd starts going, we are sorry. And he's just like, I hate that you aren't sorry. Yeah. He's not giving them anything. Gives the ring announcer a piece of paper. Say this, I'm not even going to talk to them. Kind of thing, like being very, very cosmopolitan. I'm like, okay. And
what was brilliant about that, Rich, was the he decided that that was the point to tell the crowd how many dates were left in his farewell tour.
Yeah.
30, 29, 28, 27 dates left, and I'm not going to turn up for any of them.
Yeah, he said appearances, not matches. Appearances. He goes, I don't have to do it. I've got the 17 world championship title reigns. I've got this. All I need to do is hang on to the belt. I don't even need to wrestle again. And I retire at the end of the year. The ball is in my court. I've handed in my notice at my job. Sir, please do not ask me to give any care or responsibility. I am going. And he's absolutely right. And I'm just like, yeah, he doesn't. So, I mean, clearly he obviously is, because they advertised him in Australia. Like, John Cena on Australian soil will not be here tonight. So, yeah, really, really good. No show from Cody. Don't need to see Cody Rhodes just now. He will. Yeah. I'm sure. Will they have a WrestleMania Backlash match? What do you think?
I think it's, as soon as you bring in Orton into the equation, like, right, obviously that match is happening. But when does that happen? It's not going to happen next month, right?
I mean, I think if Cody Rhodes had a rematch, it would feel obligated, in my opinion. I'm like, it's happened. They could have a rematch, but we know Cody's not taking the title off him.
But they say that rematches don't exist anymore. Is that right?
Well, no, because there was a women's tag team championship rematch literally less than 24 hours later. So I'm like, they do, and they swapped the title.
But
it's something I didn't think was they were going to do. Like, have the title tonight. We're going to take it back off you the next night. I didn't think they did that anymore, but clearly I can see why they did it.
Vince McMahon, take it off you the next night, which is what you mentioned on the last show. I was literally thinking of your words when that match was happening.
Like what was his name? He's Max Cardona now. What was his name? Whoa, whoa, whoa. What was his name? And he won at WrestleMania something. He won the Intercontinental Championship in the opening match. And I thought, that's great.
It was Zack Ryder.
Zack Ryder, that's it. And the next night on Raw, he lost it. And I was just like, I think they put it back on The Miz. And I was just like, what? Like, you didn't even give the guy a chance, because clearly when Vince, I'll take this guy. And I'm just like, okay, because Vince McMahon is stubborn. But yeah. So John Cena did the promo. Randy Orton pops up with his RKO, takes a look at the belt, holds it up, and is like, maybe, just maybe. Just planting the seed of like, yeah, I kind of want this. Why not? So maybe they'll do that at Backlash. It seems like that's the match that's going to happen, is probably Cena. But the thing is that will it? I don't know. The ball is in Cena's court. Unless you get like Adam Pearce and stuff like that. Only the managers can change his mind. They can just say, if you don't do this match, we are going to strip you of the title. And he'll go, okay, let's do it. In his apathetic ways. Just having a think of what else. Oh, we had Dominic Mysterio versus Penta in Penta's third Intercontinental Championship match in the space of a month. He's doing pretty well opportunity-wise. I'll give him that. Mm-hmm. Which was he was absolutely fine. Like I said, Penta, it's Raw. We need the Penta segment. And that kind of thing. So, Dominic Mysterio. So rightfully retaining, showing the gold between the Judgment Day across Liv Morgan and Raquel and Dominic Mysterio. And there was a segment where Finn Balor, he don't look too happy. He's a bit miffed on this one, just looking at the belt. Comes out with a response, a very delayed response. Not sure what he's going to say. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Sort of stands behind Dom. Everything's good. Continues staring at the belt. Let's see how that goes. God, being in the Judgment Day, it looks horrible. Nobody trusts each other. But yeah, it was great. So there we go. It's happened. Lots to think about moving forward.
Thank you, everybody, for watching. That was our WrestleMania weekend and Raw video.